All right, and we're back, everybody. Another episode of Wildlife Cake and Cocktails. We've got episode 13 coming at you guys. We're going frogging again. We're going to be heading out with Callum McKercher and with Lisa Owen. So Callum McKercher, he's an honours student at the UQ Ecology Lab studying the effect of chytrid fungus infection on water balance in amphibians. And we've also got Lisa Owen here with us. She's been on the show before. You know her as a UQ Wildlife Science Masters grad and from Scales Wildlife Services. Now, obviously last time when we went out frogging, we didn't find a whole lot. We were expecting there to be a thunderstorm, and it didn't happen. But we went anyway. This time, there's a bit of a weather situation. At lunchtime, the Bureau of Meteorology issued a severe weather warning for a slow-moving thunderstorm detected on the weather radar near Brisbane. So there's even been flash flooding in certain areas, up to 62 mil recorded in an hour near Enoggera Dam. So I think we should hopefully have really good conditions for frogs. Callum, how are you doing, man? What do you reckon?
Great. How are you?
I'm excellent, man. I'm very excited to be out here again. Hopefully we're going to find a little bit more diversity.
I can already hear some in the back.
I know. You can hear those right now, hey?
I think we're going to have a lot of luck tonight.
Yeah. And Lisa, how's things? You came here straight from work, hey?
I did, yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming out. And have you been out frogging a lot? Obviously you go out herping.
Not recently, but yes, I have, yeah.
Okay, cool. And here around Karawatha?
Mm-hmm, yep. In this area, and there's quite a few out there.
Nice. Obviously, I haven't actually spent too much time here. This is all fairly new for me. Now, so look, after all the main storms have died down, we're back here at the lovely Karawatha Forest. It's about 1,000 hectares of dry sclerophyll and eucalyptus and open woodland with native heaths, creeklines, billabongs and marshes. So obviously the conditions are a bit better than our last outing, so with around 320 plant species and over 200 animal species, including plenty of frogs, we're hoping for a very good night. It's one of the largest patches of remnant bushland in Brisbane and some of the last remaining wet heathland and melaleuca wetlands in the Brisbane area. And of course, before we get going, we'd like to acknowledge the Yugara people, the traditional custodians of much of Brisbane, whose tribal lands include the Karawatha Forest. Now guys, we're here with some, I've got a little bit of coffee. Obviously we're out in the field, so we can't do the cocktail thing, but we do have some cake. We've all got a nice slice here while we're setting up on the front of the car, getting ready to go.
Amazing cake.
It's fantastic.
And what more could you want for a night of frogging? And we're actually going to be going out using FrogID, which is a new citizen science project frog app that we're going to start talking about a little bit more. Now, obviously, you know, locations like this, there's a lot of creek lines. The weather's fairly warm today, and we've had all this rain, so pretty much perfect conditions for frogs, right, Callum?
Yep, it's going to be fantastic. I got a mouthful of cake, I'm sorry.
No, just work through it. Just power through. It's all good. So, you know, obviously, location, weather, and time. Tree frogs are best after these big rainstorms, which is what we were hoping for last time. A pretty warm evening, but again, you know, standard safety gear. Shoes, torches, have your communication ready, first aid, and hygiene. So avoid handling or moving frogs from waterholes. We're also bringing a little tub to wash our feed in and a little bit of diluted bleach if we do happen to be entering a waterhole, which is mostly going to be Callum's business. We're just going to be carrying the tubs for him. So obviously we do this to avoid some of the infectious diseases we talked about last time, chytridomycosis being the main one, Batrachochytrium dendrobatitis, the amphibian chytrid fungus, implicated in mass die-offs and at least 4 extinctions in Australian frog species since the 1990s, including the Mount Glorious day frog here in Brisbane, and also in Panamanian amphibian declines, and such as the golden frog, Atelopus zeteki, last seen in the wild in 2006 and recorded on Life in Cold Blood. Is that about right?
That's about right, yeah.
Wonderful.
That's good stuff.
You know, what are you keen to find out here? I know you have a nice spot out here for tusk frog somewhere as well.
It's somewhere, well, not out here.
Not out here,
in
obviously.
the Slacks Creek area. I found a couple of them.
Well, it's going to be a bit of a secret spot. We're not going to exactly tell everybody where to find all the threatened species in the Brisbane area, but there is some lovely area out here to explore. All right, guys, we're going to finish up, have a little bit of cake and coffee, and then we're going to get on the road. We're going to turn the recorder and the mic back on once we're on the road, and we'll get back to you soon. Cheers, guys. Bye. All right. I'm not sure how much you guys can hear that, but there are some wonderful frog calls that we're already hearing. We're just coming up to a little wooden footbridge, and I figure we're going to have some pretty good luck tonight because there's a lot of frog calling. We just got to find somewhere where we can get a little bit closer to the water, I imagine. Callum, what do you think we're hearing at the moment?
So probably sedge frogs, I think, are probably at. Yeah, I think probably some of those Wallam sedge frogs out there, Latoria phalanx at the moment. Be the most abundant one we find.
Yeah, we did have great luck with them last time. All right, well, let's keep moving and see what else we can find. All right, so guys, on to some frog systematics briefly. Last time on the show, we were discussing the Hylidae family. That includes the green tree frog, Latoria caerulea, and the eastern sedge frog that we just mentioned, little Latoria phalanx. Ooh, who's that swimming around? And like maybe I got some moorhens that we have disturbed with our noisy podcasting. Including the eastern sedge frog that we were speaking about, all in the Hylidae family. Now, I believe in 2005, the Hylidae frog family was split into 3 subfamilies: the Hylinae, the Pelodryadinae, and the Phylomedusinae, all in around 2005. Now, these have since been elevated to full families. So, for example, in Duhlman et al., 2016, Phylogenetics, Classification and Biogeography of the Tree Frogs in the journal Zootaxa, the Australian Papuan Hylid tree frogs are included from the subfamily Pelodryadinae, now in a full family of their own right, Pelodryadidae to Pelodryadidae. And this is, straight from the abstract, a phylogenetic analysis of sequences from 503 species of hylid frogs and 4 outgroup taxa, 19 genes, 16,128 aligned sites. The molecular data were subjected to a maximum likelihood analysis that resulted in a phylogenetic tree for tree frogs. A conservative new classification based on the tree has 3 families comprising an unranked taxon Arboranae. So rana as in frogs and arbor as in arboreal. So I guess that's the overall tree frog unranked taxa group above those new 3 families. Pretty interesting stuff. So last show we were talking about the Hylidae. Seems perhaps we should have been talking about the Pelodryadidae. Many thanks as well to the incredibly knowledgeable Mr. Scott Iper from Nature for You for his corrections there. Hugely appreciate it. You can check him and his menagerie out at wildlifedemonstrations.com. In fact, for all of our listeners out there, we're more than happy to include any proven scientific corrections you might have. So, look, if I get sloppy, call me out, yo. Science is all about being open to new information. So please, if you catch me slipping, drop me a message or a comment, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So, look, Callum, pretty interesting how phylogenetics is changing our understanding of some of these relationships, right?
Yeah, well, previously a lot of classification has been based on morphological traits, and as we have gained more knowledge with these molecular techniques, you'll find a lot of animals and animal families are going to be shuffled around and species brought in, taken out, depending on what we find with these techniques.
Yeah, that's right. And obviously, amongst the morphological methods, there's going to be, different weighting on certain different characters, whereas when you got something that's kind of I guess quantitative as DNA, you can get a bit more of hopefully if you get a decent sample size, you can get a better estimate.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what you're using to classify these animals. Like if you're using, say, mitochondrial DNA, because that's quite conserved, you'll get different pictures unless you, compared to, say, DNA that changes quickly, you'll see much more divergence, and you might tend to classify things as separately when, depending on this mitochondrial DNA, they should be in the same family. It depends what kind of genes and metrics we use to define how these families should be made.
Right. And obviously, Lisa, we see this in a lot of other species as well, in reptiles, in mammals, and primates, which is your more of your speciality, right?
Yes, we do. Yeah, and like Callum said, we're going to be seeing more of that as we get to know more about these species at a different level.
And is there a new species of orangutan now as well?
Yes, there is. I can't remember what it was now.
No, neither do I.
It was in, was it Sumatra or?
I believe. See, look, this is what happens when we go for an impromptu frog podcast without any planning. All right, guys, look, we're going to keep on walking, and we're going to talk about some more amphibian stuff in a bit, but we're going to walk on and see what we can find. We'll turn the recorder on once we've had a bit of a look, and yeah, we'll chat soon. Cheers, guys. Bye. Okay, and we're back. We're down by a lovely water body here on one of the circuits here at the Karawatha Forest, and things are looking promising. There's a lovely area. There's a lot of moisture on the ground, so I guess we're just going to keep wandering around. Lisa, did we figure out what was up with the orangutans?
I did. I got my brain back in gear. So yes, there has been a new species discovered of orangutan, so that makes the 3rd species now of orangutan.
Fascinating.
It's been found in northern Sumatra. There's a population there which was known about since, I think it was first recorded in 1939 or around then, but they haven't actually been able to determine describe it as a separate species until now. So they've done a lot of studies on genetics and morphology, and they've found that this is a separate species. It's called the Tapanuli orangutan, or Pongo tapanuliensis. And yeah, so it's the 3rd species of orangutan, and it's actually the first new species of grade 8 that's been described since the bonobo almost 100 years ago, so it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, wow, what an achievement, hey.
Although it is already under threat. Unfortunately, there's only been estimate of 800 of these guys left in the wild.
Yeah, right.
So they're pretty heavily threatened.
Yeah, that's not a massive population size, is it?
No.
Wow, look at some of these lovely low little depressions here as well. We're starting to hear a lot more croaky sounds as we approach some of these bigger water bodies here along this track. So, where's Callum gone off to? I think he's searching down there for something else. So anyway, guys, we're out here as well. Callum has on his phone, and so do I for that matter, the FrogID app. We can't, I'm very excited about having to play around with this first of all, but we really couldn't be happier to be out here having a look at this new little app. Basically, it's a fantastic FrogID app that will help you find, record, and validate local frog calls in your area. So this is straight from, you can go check them out at www.frogid.net.au. So why frogs count? Australia has 240 known species of frog, almost all of which are found nowhere else in the world. Some are flourishing, but others have declined dramatically since the 1980s, and 4 have become extinct, as we mentioned. FrogID is a national citizen science project that is helping us learn more about what is happening to Australia's frogs. All around the country, people are recording frog calls with nothing more than a smartphone. With the data obtained through FrogID, we are able to track the cane toad and identify where frogs are thriving and where they aren't. And by matching calls to weather and habitat, we are learning a lot more about how different frog species are responding to a changing environment. This information could be crucial in saving Australia's frogs. So very fascinating stuff. You can, if you're out in the field, obviously, kind of like we are, and like Callum has done, you can download the FrogID app, create an account, and it's pretty much that simple. You can go out, find and record, and help validate your local frog fauna's calls. And all you really need is a smartphone. You're going to be hearing croaks, whistles, bleats, and barks, and every frog has this unique calling pattern. And by recording a frog with the new app, FrogID, you can discover which frogs are in your backyard and around you in wherever you are really, and help the Australian Museum count frogs all around the world. Even at home, you can become an audio DNA expert. By joining the online community, you can learn how to listen and validate frog calls submitted to the FrogID app from all over the country. So this is helping this valuable citizen science program from home. So everybody can do their part to help frog conservation, which is absolutely awesome. And we've actually been having a bit of a play around with this app, haven't we, Callum?
Certainly have. Sorry, I can hear a whirring tree frog.
Oh, really?
We can hear a couple of them calling around. I'm trying to find them.
And you
have a look. But
and we can obviously, using FrogID,
we
the app,
certainly can.
we can play the call back.
Yep. So all you have to do is record through the app for 20 seconds. The whatever's happening around you. It's a minimum of 20 seconds.
And look, I'm watching Callum right now. He's got the app out and he's started recording. So I'm going to be silent.
So of course they're quiet for that 20 seconds, but that's okay. So you stop recording, you've got to click what habitat you found it in, a natural area, rural, backyard, city or other, and what water body size you found them at. And then you get a list of calls that it could potentially be. You tick what you think is closest to your call and submit. And hopefully someone at whoever they employ will verify that call as soon as they can, and you get to see what's around at your house or wherever you like to go around.
Well, it's absolutely awesome. It's free to get involved in a groundbreaking nationwide citizen science program to help Australia's native frogs. And literally you can do it on your phone out in the field or on your laptop at home, helping analyze those calls that are going to be submitted, some of which are going to be submitted by us tonight. So we're very excited to be out here using this app. Anybody at home can jump on it. You can check it out at frogid.net.au or go to australianmuseum.net.au/frogid project. All right, we're going to keep looking and see what we can find. We'll turn the recorders on in a minute and we'll be back with you soon. I think there's a plane going overhead. How's that? Timing. All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye. All right. And we found our first frog of the night. Lisa, what did you find here?
A little teensy eastern sedge frog.
Yeah, so that's definitely Litoria phallax, and he's probably maybe, I don't know.
Smaller than my fingernail.
Yeah, smaller than your fingernail. So I'd put him at maybe 5 millimeters. he's definitely a little guy. And this is ooh, there we go. Some interesting frog sounds up above us. But these sedge frogs are obviously very common. We found plenty of them last time. So there's plenty of other interesting stuff here for us to find. I think we're going to start wandering around and just see what we can find out here. Lisa, how did you come across this one? Did you find eye shine, or did you just spot him on a torch?
No, I just came over to look in the sedge, and behold, there he is sitting on some sedge.
A sedge frog in some sedge grass. Wonderful. All right, no worries. And we've got a few photos of it, all obviously going up. Let's see if we can find some slightly rarer, more interesting amphibians.
Interesting?
Oh, of course he's interesting. He's lovely and beautiful. All right, we'll be back soon, guys. And guys, we're just down here by the creek line and we're looking at some of these beautiful little sedge frogs we found. We've actually found 4 in one spot, and they're not far away. We have a juvenile brown tree snake, Boiga irregularis. At a small size like this, they're massive frog eaters, and being nocturnal, they really don't need a very high temperature. He's very happy just sitting here in an ambush position, and we're getting some fantastic photos and really not disturbing him at all. He hasn't moved. He's still in his ambush spot, just hoping for one of these little Litoria phallax eastern sedge frogs to come by. There's actually one less than 40 centimeters away. How cool is this, Lisa? You got a little baby brown tree snake right there in front of you.
I'm so happy right now.
When's the last time you've seen some cool reptiles?
It's probably been a few weeks, so having withdrawals.
And Callum, you're not much of a, you're not typically much of a snaker, but obviously, these little brown tree snakes, they're not massively venomous, and they are absolutely stunning at this size.
He's a little cutie. He's awesome. I don't find a lot of them, or I just don't notice them, and I'm really like it. He's lovely, and he's being very accommodating with all the pictures, so he's a good little snake.
Yeah, they're a beautiful little snake, fantastic arboreal climber, and they've got these amazing elliptical cat's eyes, which are vertical basically rather than circular, which is why they get given the name night tiger by some people. But obviously, the night tiger, very, very adept at being out at night and hunting frogs, birds, small mammals, lizards, geckos, all that kind of stuff. What a phenomenal little snake. This is super cool. Guys, we found a brown tree snake while we were looking for frogs. I'm very excited.
You never know what you're going to find.
And look, there's within about a meter, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 frogs as well, which is very, very cool. Yeah, we'll have a bit of a look at them in a minute. Oh man, very exciting. All right, we're obviously going to get a few photos here, and we'll start recording again once we hopefully find some more of these frogs or some more snakes. Either way, I'm very happy. Haha. Talk soon. Bye. All right, what have we found here, Lisa?
A beautiful tawny.
Tawny frogmouth. Wonderful nocturnal predatory bird. So obviously, we've seen a few frogs and some lizards already. These nocturnal predators are going to be out here in force amongst the other owls and nightjars and things like that. But tawny frogmouth's not an owl, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, wonderful bird. Look at the big orange eyes on him. He's just checking us out so much right now.
Isn't he gorgeous?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously a lot of nocturnal predators out here. What are the main stuff that's going to be feeding on frogs aside from, snakes?
Well, again, birds would have a decent go on them, and I reckon any small mammals that can get their hands on frogs. Frogs are, to be honest, everything's breakfast. They're very...
Oh, there he goes. He's taking a flight.
The reason they're so good at camouflaging and they're so hard to spot is because they're so highly predated upon.
Right.
And so obviously they get copying it from all sides, so they're trying to make themselves as invisible as possible, which is why it's so hard right now, because they're not calling and making themselves obvious in their habitat for us to find them.
Yeah, right. Well, look, we've obviously tried one spot down the other side where we're heading down to check out a couple of other water holes and see what we can find. But yeah, not as great conditions as we'd hoped for.
The night is still young.
The night is still young. We've still got plenty more spots to check out. Look, let's get on the road and we'll turn the recorder on once we find some more stuff. Cheers, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Okay. We're hearing what we think is one of the gungans, the toadlets, Paralea. But the grass is very thick. That being said, we have our FrogID app. Callum is busting it out right now, and we're going to give it a shot. So we're going to wait for 20 seconds. You guys will hear a little bit, and then we're going to see how we go with this app. All right, and go. How'd we go?
Alright, so we've got 8 potential matches.
Alright.
Alright, so...
How cool is that? So, obviously, it's run that sound through a bit of bioacoustics and tried to match up the waveforms and wave functions of what we've recorded onto the database of frog sounds that they have. And we have 8 different potential options. What do we got?
That sounds pretty good.
And that's the playback.
So that's the copper-backed toadlet is one option.
The copper-backed toadlet. And the scientific name of that is?
Pseudophrine ravenii or something.
Pseudophrine.
There you go.
Wonderful. Maybe it is pseudophrine. I don't know.
No, I'm not going to say that.
Okay, pseudophrine. So potentially we're hearing some of the little copper-backed toadlets. That's a fascinating app. It is absolutely fantastic that just from the sound that we're hearing in this grass, we can't see any of these frogs. We've tried to triangulate a few, and they're just so deep in this leaf litter that it is quite difficult to find them physically, but
yeah, they grow up to 3 centimeters long. So we're pushing shit uphill. We're not going to find these frogs.
Well, look, at least we can identify them by their calls thanks to this wonderful app. So look, we're going to keep on walking. I'm going to go over there and see what Lisa's found. We'll go for a bit of a wander. We're in some fantastic, lovely sort of Wallamy kind of areas. What do you got, Lisa? You're trying to triangulate one down? So it does often actually help to have 2 people doing this. So I'm going to grab a different angle to Lisa and then we're going to try to work on the same sound a little bit. Is it that noise that you're hearing out there to the right, Lisa?
There's one in here somewhere who stopped calling.
Okay. Well, I guess we're just going to have to keep on looking and trying. Fascinating. I love that frog app. Oh, that's so cool. All right, guys. We'll get back to you shortly once we've found some more cool stuff. And yeah, talk to you soon. Bye. And that sounds very interesting. We've got FrogID out. We've got an interesting call that's coming off the side of the path here, and we're just trying to figure out what it is using the app here before we go stomping around in there too much. All right, we're going to have another listen here. And of course they stopped calling.
Yeah. No. Not quite right.
No. Getting close.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the one. So what you're hearing now is the call that we're playing off FrogID, and hopefully we'll get them calling back.
that's Latoria gracelenta.
Gracelenta, so that's the graceful tree frog.
They are such a gorgeous little frog.
Yeah.
Lovely little thing.
But often fairly high up in the canopy and not exactly
Yeah.
large. So that's going to be a
Exactly.
struggle to find if we're going to. And it seems to have stopped calling now.
I would love to. Maybe we'll go play some calls in there.
Absolutely,
And
let's
they
go
might,
do it.
might have a chat back to us.
Okay, so we're going to go in there and play a few calls. Some Latoria gracelenta calls, some gracile tree frog, is that correct?
Graceful.
Graceful.
Graceful or dainty is what it's called
Okay.
quite often. So, we can hear him now. So they get to 4.5 centimeters long and are lime green or olive green
Lime?
with bright yellow sides and feet, and often a yellow stripe from nostril to the past the eye.
Wonderful. And are we going to try to play some calls for them now?
We
Or?
definitely are, so I'm going to load that up now. Is that him calling off in the distance? Yeah, it is.
Wow, wonderful. Okay, let's see if we can triangulate on him a little bit. Now, I'm going to let you guys obviously do most of the work. I've got these big cans on my head. I'm walking around with the microphone in the wet grass, so... Okay, so we're approaching lovely Sedge Frog Dam. All right, I guess we'll start looking, hey? So that drrrr in the background is the cane toad call, hey?
I think, yep. I'm fairly certain it is.
Okay, Lisa, what have you found here?
I found a little dentata, which looks very much like a sedge frog, but upon further inspection, we've seen that it's got orange eyes and, yeah, some different markings to a sedge. So.
Yeah, it's got some of that lovely sort of blotchy, creamy coloration on it, and that orange top half of the eye.
Yep.
Wow, and he is tiny. You know,
Absolutely
again,
tiny.
you would mistake it for a sedge frog because of how small it is. You know, he is little.
Brand new metamorph. I think he must have just absorbed his tail and he's out looking for something to eat. I think he's that small.
Yeah, wow. And you know, I guess we're hoping that we're going to find some other species around here, and it just shows how much attention you have to pay to these tiny, tiny little frogs and the differences, because it sure does look like
He'd sit on a 5-cent piece easily.
yeah, and
Easily.
and if you didn't have a close look, it would be very easy to mistake that for just one of the brownish morphs of Latoria phalanx. But he's got that beautiful orange eye, and
See that?
yeah, that weird little rocking movement, and yeah, those beautiful creamy patches on him as well.
Oh, I know, I see, yeah.
Wow, look at that. So that's Kefferstein's tree frog, or the bleating tree frog.
Latoria dentata.
Latoria dentata, fantastic find. And obviously we're hoping to find a few more of these. Hey, look at this. This is mating
Oh, yeah.
mating insects going on right here. Or is that males fighting over a female?
Could be.
All kinds of stuff going on. There's mating insects.
She's just pushed him to his death, by the way.
And look, we can still hear that in the background. So that is, and we're going to go to try and find that at some point. That is cane toad calling, we believe.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to track that down and see if we can see where that's all coming from and what's going on over there. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to see what else we can find in the area. Wow, great find, Lisa. Awesome. Kefferstein's tree frog. All right, Latoria dentata. Let's see what else we got. Cheers, guys. Woo! So I'm only about half a metre away from some of these calling Latoria phalanx. Beautiful green males, fairly small. I'll get the mic right up to him, keep my torch off him, see if he'll call. Loud, hey. And that's, we believe that's cane toad, is it?
Yep. I'll run it through the frog app if you want.
Yeah, we'll see what FrogID gives us, but you finding things already, Callum?
No, I thought I heard a squeak. It's still on something.
Ah.
That's all.
All right. See what we find once we get a bit closer to this water body. Wow. Wow.
And I've never associated that call with them. It's just an odd one.
Well, how often do you hear them making their breeding call? All right, we're just slowly combing our way around another one of these water bodies. Man, there is some cane toad calling action going. so many spider webs around. What was that just jumped into the water? All right, as it's why they have stopped calling now. All right, we'll see what we can find around this water body, and we'll switch it back on soon. Okay, so look, I guess conditions still not exactly what we would want. We probably need to get here even after a little bit sooner after rain than we have. Is that right, Callum?
I believe so. I think we've missed our little window, or we're just not looking in the best spots for diversity. Either one.
Well, look, that's kind of what herping is all about. You got to get out there and try. That said, we found Latoria phalanx again. We heard Latoria carolea, and you heard the whirring tree frog as well at some point.
Yes, we think so. We definitely saw the little dentatas. They were cool, but they weren't big enough to be hearing any calls. And at the other place, I'm still yet to pin down what he was.
Right. Okay. Well, look, interesting stuff. Anyway, and we're slowly heading back to go check out your tusked frog spot at some point. Hey?
Yep, for sure. Hopefully, they'll prove to be old faithful and come out for me tonight, but we'll see.
No worries. All right. Well, we'll have our fingers crossed, and we'll just walk up along this drainage as we go. Lisa, you're going to have to head off a bit before us. You got a big day ahead, hey?
I do, unfortunately. Sorry, I'd like to stay frogging with you all night, but I will fall asleep tomorrow if I do.
Well, look, you came here straight from work already, so look, we thank you so much anyway for coming on. It's been, always a joy and a pleasure having you along, and having your fauna eyes on the ground is never a bad thing.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me again.
No worries, always welcome. So look, I guess while we're walking back to the cars before we say farewell to Lisa, we should probably talk about some of the threats that frogs are facing here in Queensland. We did already discuss last time, some of the threats from chytrid fungus, of course, and land clearing and development. Basically, anywhere where there's development and loss of habitat is going to be affecting a lot of the waterways and hydrogeology and the frogs. Is that right, Callum?
Yes, certainly. So currently the extinction rates of amphibians are anywhere between 211 to 1,000 times that of background extinction rates for amphibians.
Wow, that's massive.
So amphibians, species in general, come and go as this is a normal part of life. So we call that the background extinction rate, what normally happens, and we've used the fossil record to help inform us of that rate.
Right, so look, certain species that evolve are just not going to be as successful as other lineages, and they're going to die out.
Yep, they're just unlucky. For some reason, they just didn't quite fit the bill. They couldn't cut it.
And frogs, well, they're obviously quite environmentally sensitive species.
Yes, yep. So they're extremely permeable skin, as well as living in the water as tadpoles and on the land as animals, makes them particularly susceptible because they can be hit on all fronts. Their permeable skin will absorb any pollutants quite readily, as well as just them being in contact with so many different areas or sources of potential pollution. Right.
So quite a few challenges there for the old frogs.
Certainly are. So there are at the moment two main hypotheses, on kind of frog declines and their causes. So you've got the first three are introduction of alien species, over exploitation, and then you've got the it's escaped me, that last one.
Parasites, pathogens, things like that.
No, that's the next. So those two are part of part one, and then the third one are parasites and pathogens. We've got global changes such as increases in the amount of UV hitting the Earth's surface. So another experiment in our lab has looked at the effects of UV on tadpole development, and they found that low temperatures and high UV have extremely high mortality because the UV damages DNA.
Right.
And so obviously you have proteins in your body and enzymes to repair this DNA when it's damaged. But at lower temperatures, this process is slowed.
Right.
So that high dose of UV combined with a low temperature means they can't keep up with the damage, essentially. Their repair mechanism doesn't keep up
Okay.
with the damage caused, and so they lead to higher mortality.
Right, and I also understand there's some connection between, I guess, the amount of UVB and UVA at high altitudes and the effects of chytrid fungus on frog skin.
Yeah, so potentially there can be carryover effects as larvae are exposed to UV. Their immune system could be compromised in some way, making them more susceptible once they metamorphose, as well as just the frogs in general being exposed to more UV as an adult could somehow affect their immune system.
Right, so look, obviously they're sensitive little bioindicator species. Sorry, I'm just going to stop flashing everybody in the eyes with my head torch. And you know, that's one of the reasons why this FrogID and the citizen science projects that Australian Museum are doing are so important. You know, it gives you it allows them to take a much bigger picture across the country about the state of amphibian declines.
Yeah, it's fantastic because there's only so many studies, so many things that institutions, governments can fund. So it's fantastic that we've got citizen scientists going out and performing these population studies for us, seeing what species is where. At the moment, they haven't got like a species number, so it's just species richness, but we're finding out more and more information than we could with just the resources we have.
Yeah,
a free
absolutely.
app gets us so much information.
Absolutely. What about you, Lisa? I was blown away with how easy it was to just go out there and kind of record frog calls and get like, you're looking at wave frequencies on your phone that match up, the different types of frog calls with what you're recording out in the field. It's pretty cool.
Shazam for frogs. But no, I think it's fantastic, and I think it's we'll be able to do this for a lot more species, and we'll be able to get so much information that we just couldn't get otherwise. So
see, now I'm thinking they should have marketed it as Shaz Frog or Frogzan, one or the other.
Frogzan.
Frogzan. All right, Lisa, I think we're going to have to leave you here. We're going to go look for some tusk frogs, but you've got a big day ahead. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you on, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you some point soon.
Good luck with the rest of your night.
Yeah, hopefully we'll find something cool.
Hopefully we will find them.
All right.
Thank you very much for coming along as well.
Thank you.
No worries, guys. All right, we're going to turn off the recording, head over to Callum's secret tusked frog spot at a lotus. Is that correct?
Slacks Creek.
I was saying the genus name.
Oh, no. I don't bother with that. No. Too much pronunciation. No.
Okay, all right, no worries. All right, we're going to jump on the road. We'll see you guys soon. Cheers. Bye. So it's like almost a tick-tock sound with the two of them going, but those pock.
Yep.
Those are Limnodynastes peronii.
Certainly. Striped marsh frog.
Striped marsh.
So they love to breed in ephemeral waters, so waters that kind of flood and pop up during wet, rainy seasons and then die away later on. And that's generally because they can almost guarantee there are no fish predators in that water, so their larvae have a much better chance of surviving. Okay, fascinating.
So rather than permanent water bodies where you've got, big Australian bass and things like that.
Yeah, well, it's a high risk, high reward because your ephemeral water body could dry up before your tuddies are ready to develop, basically.
Right.
So there is a trade-off with that.
So we're going to see if we can find these little spotteds. I want to let Callum do a lot of the work, obviously. Wow. So we're getting closer. We're going to see if we can track him down and get you guys a photo. I'll let you go ahead there, Callum.
hear that duck? Well, there he is. Look, look. Hold on, just let me get a photo of that.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, exactly right.
That is wonderful.
We should get them ears wrong.
Yeah, we'll definitely get a nice photo of that. There you go. We'll get the camera in there as well.
And if you come around this way, you can actually see some spawn.
Oh, wow. So there's some, I'm guessing that same species as well, right?
Yeah, I would
Wow, look at him there.
dare say.
That is fantastic.
There's a
Okay.
bloody stick in the way too. But he will deflate if I move it. That's the problem.
That's all right. Just pick your angle slow. We're getting some fantastic sounds here from him. So that's obviously a male
Yes.
and calling for a female.
Yeah, so I think he might have already had a female, because there's some spawn behind him.
Oh, wow.
And then he's decided he wants to go again. Good on him.
Fantastic little animals.
Move this stick,
Lovely. All right. Well, there's our striped marsh frog. So that's one. We are still after the tusked frog in the area. So we're going to try and get a little bit of footage and a few more photos of this guy. But hey, there we go. That's our third frog species for the night that we've seen. A few more that we've heard and potentially identified using the wonderful FrogID app. Wonderful stuff. Okay. All right. We're going to see what else we can find, and we'll be back with you shortly.
Photo of you, buddy.
So, camera okay?
Yeah. Caught the camera.
Callum took a bit of a tumble because he nearly went headfirst into a small water dragon that was sleeping at head height. I think we've woken him up with our crazy commotion.
Sorry, little buddy.
So this is Intelligama now, Intelligama legerii. Yeah, eastern water dragon, fantastic little agama lizard. And you know, obviously when you're here around the waterways looking for frogs, you're going to find some other things that like waterways. And these dragon lizards will just, you know, they'll perch up in one of these trees, fall asleep, and sleep up in a tree, or even sometimes in the water if it's warm enough. But they, you know, you'll often find them just asleep in branches overhanging water. Very cool little animals. Now, Callum, I'll let you head up first. Now,
Yeah, actually, I want to.
Callum has been lucky enough, by the way, using the FrogID app and the calls that come with it to produce a return call from Adelotus brevis, the tusked frog. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to find it. Just like the Pseudophrinae and the Paralea, they're pretty small and they can burrow down into the soil pretty well. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but we're going to see how close we can get, and then we'll see if we can produce this contact call for you again.
Might have to go round, I think.
Yeah, okay. This was pretty close, wasn't it?
Oh. Yeah, I'll try a little call here for them.
Okay, so we're going to produce one using the FrogID app, and we're going to see if we get one in return.
So the first call you'll hear will be the app, and then hopefully we'll go to return one fairly quickly.
I'm getting a bit of interference from the phone. Alright, I'm standing back a bit now. That was the app. There it is. It's the app. Oh, and we got a return. Did you hear that second one? Let's do that again. Let's see if we can get that one more time and triangulate it a little bit more wet. Okay, we'll get the app going. That was beautiful.
I hope they can pick it up home, hopefully on the recording. There we go.
So that's the app. That's the app. Oh, we're getting a bit of interference from the app now, so. But anyway, we got one at least. Wow.
We got one. We'll try one more spot, see if we can get in a more accessible spot, just down the little river drainage bit here, and then hopefully that'll be it. We'll get one.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. That may have to almost be it for the night as well, because it's nearly midnight, I believe.
Yeah, mammoth night.
Yeah. And again, you know, not the most ideal conditions. The weather keeps looking perfect, and then switching up on us at the last minute. But that's okay. That's the joys of herping, you know. We're out here in the great outdoors at night time, enjoying the fresh nighttime air, and finding some very cool animals while we're at it. I mean, what have we found a brown tree snake. We found multiple species of native frog. We found Latoria phalanx. We found Gracilenta.
We found striped marsh frog
Striped
calling
marsh
with some
frogs.
spawn behind him.
Yeah, and we found those Keffersteins, the bleeding tree frog.
Yeah, and then we
the
found tusk frogs as well to top it all off, which is I think it's a threatened species under Queensland legislation.
Yeah,
so that's
on the IUCN Red List as well, I believe.
It's a very good find to have here in southeast Queensland.
And it's quite incredible in this little secret spot of yours.
Oh,
It's
a little possum.
Oh, there we go. There's a possum in the tree. Look at him go. Hey, buddy. And look, well, it is quite incredible how much frog diversity there is here, because it's not like we're in the middle of the forest right now. We're kind of on the edges of a semi-urban area.
Yeah. So obviously there's something about this spot that still makes it useful for frogs.
Right.
We haven't got a huge diversity. Like I think we've only found 3 frog species here in the past. So striped marsh frogs, rocket frogs, and the all-important tusk frog.
Which is amazing. They're just right here, so close to what is basically the suburbs. We're finding an IUCN threatened species.
Yep, and then the ever-present cane toads. We can't get rid of them.
Yep.
But still, these urbanized parks, that they can be, strongholds for these frogs.
Right, which is why it's so important that we take care of them.
Exactly, small patches of a very important habitat in an otherwise quite inhospitable area for these amphibians.
Right, gives them a little bit of respite and gives their populations a little bit of a chance, even with all the pressure.
Exactly. So these are fantastic little spots, and I encourage everyone just to go down to your local park or something like that. You find more than you think you will. Almost always.
And even if you don't really know how to look for frogs, you can go out, hear frog calls, record them on the FrogID app, and it'll do.
Tells you where to find them, if they're burrowing frogs, tree frogs. Gives you a basic description of where to possibly look, and then you can just start from there.
Wonderful. And are we going to try this contact call again here, or?
I think here's looking for places where he could hide, potentially. Like we can hear our striped marsh frog friend again, having a good old call.
Pock, pock, pock.
Yeah, so what we'll do, we'll open up the app again.
I'll let you get a bit ahead of me there, just because of the interference from the Bluetooth with my microphones.
I don't think there's enough of a rocky outcrop or anything here for him.
No, there's just a lot of mud and toads at the moment, hey?
Yeah, so I don't think he'll be here. think our best chance is back at that first spot we were at.
Which is up over there, is it?
Yeah, right over there.
Yeah.
We wanna...
Yeah. Wow, those striped.
Yeah, so I was actually very surprised we didn't find more of them at Karawatha. Because, you know, even here they're out having a good old time, having a croak. Oh, that could have been a rocket frog we just scared into the water there.
Bugger.
Yeah, that's okay.
It did take off with that big old leap. So
Yeah,
what,
it was-
Latoria nasuda, right?
Yeah,
Striped
not
marsh
sure,
frog?
maybe. But yes, I think he took off quite well. But yeah, so even here, oh look, there's
What's that?
is that some kind of insect?
Fascinating.
But yeah, even here in these parks, we've got lots of striped marsh frogs. So I was quite surprised we didn't find any at Karawatha.
Yeah, right. Okay, so what's the plan from here?
Well, I think we'll call it a night. Actually, we'll go try one more time, maybe for a call on that rock side.
Yep.
And if that doesn't yield any results, I think it's bedtime for everyone.
No worries. It has been a long night, but you know, glad we've got a little bit of extra diversity this time. We'll I think we'll really have to plan for conditions as well as possible.
They just don't seem to be working out for us at all.
That's okay. That's what it's all about. We keep trying.
Well, try and cross here, you reckon?
Yeah, sure.
Risk it.
Ooh, creek crossing. Ooh, there's our little striped marsh frog. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to get a little bit closer than you, so I'm not an interference, but hopefully I have a better chance of picking up the call.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, whenever you're ready, dude.
Oh, you heard it say.
Was that it?
Yep, that's it.
That squeak?
Yep, that's him. I don't even have to play the recording.
There it was.
Yep.
So it's slightly different from the pox. It's got that slightly higher trill. Wow. That is just incredible. There it goes. What you're hearing right there is a threatened species of, wow, listen to him go.
It'd be fantastic if we can get closer to him. But I think he's picked himself a very nice hiding spot.
I think so. Wow. Well, look, we can hear him calling. It's absolutely fascinating to just sit here and listen to that. Oh, that's fantastic. So where do we suspect that this noise is coming from?
I think he'll be in the rocks there, potentially in the leaf litter, or maybe out under the bridge, or maybe some slow flowing water. Because potentially the reason he's calling is to get a mate.
Right.
So he's going to want somewhere close to water so that if he does have one come along,
He'll be ready to breed.
He's ready to breed. He's ready to go. So I might be able to walk across the edge there. See what I can find.
Yeah, you go ahead. I'm just going to sit here and keep recording because, how often do you have a chance to record the vocalizations of a threatened species of amphibian? Oh wow, that's just incredible. And yeah, with these headphones on, I'm not getting any real directionality.
No.
But so I'm gonna let you do all the work. The heavy lifting, as always, goes to the honours student.
I wonder how deep that pool is. Oh, see, he's gotta be right there.
Do you think he's on that rock ledge there?
He's on that ledge. He just sounds like he's right there.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Take another call for me, pal.
I think we might have spooked him now.
Yeah. He was going so well too.
Well, I was just happy to hear it, honestly. Even if we don't get to have a look, you know, just to know that they're here, as you know, as you said, in these sort of what you would think would be a bit more disturbed areas. They're still here in you know, it didn't really actually take us that long to find them calling. It's fascinating. Yeah, very cool. But he seems to have. Let's see how Callum goes bringing up the frog call app, seeing if he can get himself a contact call nice and close. So that's the app.
No, I think he's on a runner. He'll be all the way up in that drain.
Yeah, sure. Well, look, we've had a good night of it so far.
Oh, I think him again.
Getting closer.
It's all moss covered too. Deep shit.
All right, folks, we're gonna see what we can do here about either finding this frog or finding somewhere dry to finish up the show. We'll be back with you shortly anyway. Cheers, bye. All right, we're back at the car park.
All right.
I think that's about it. We're pretty buggered, but hey, look, that was fascinating hearing those tusk frogs. That was super cool, man. Thank you very much for that, Callum.
No worries.
And how often do you actually get out frogging out here, man?
It's probably the third time I've been out here. I don't get out very much.
Obviously, yeah, doing the honours is pretty hectic schedule.
But you're always amazed what you see. Even if you see that just one frog, it's better than nothing. It's always nice to come out and see something.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, we you know, obviously had hoped for better conditions once again, but you know, you can't always get what you want.
Yeah.
And you know, I think, you know, I still had a great time listening to those tusked frogs. Was fantastic. And dude, the FrogID app, that was awesome.
It is. It's a fantastic tool. Again, we can, like, academic institutions and governments can only do so much with the funding they have, and downloading this free app to go out and essentially do some of our job for us is fantastic.
No, that's right. And look, it's a lot of fun. You're out here listening to all this amazing nature and recording these frog calls. It's really pretty cool. So look, I recommend everybody jump on frogid.net.au. Get involved in this groundbreaking nationwide citizen science program to help Australia's native frogs for free on your phone or on your laptop at home, or go to australianmuseum.net.au/frogid/project. And that's pretty much it. Callum, thank you so much, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, and I hope we can do this again sometime soon.
No worries. It's been a great night. Thank you very much.
All right, cheers, mate. We'll hopefully be talking to you soon. Thanks, buddy. Bye.